What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is NCIS Season 15, Episode 16, Handle with Care. So I really would have assumed that an episode with Drew Carey in it would have been a lot funnier. But it was actually more emotional than I ever would have guessed. I mean, it captured a lot of emotion. And one of the reasons it did that is because we finally learned a bit more about Jack Sloan. I don't know if they've ever really confirmed exactly what happened to her before now. I can't remember if they talked about it when she first joined the show. I know whenever they went over for that one time to keep an eye on the senator whenever they were overseas, I do remember Leon talking to Gibbs about that and saying, are you sure you want her over there because of what happened last time she was over there? He said something along those lines. I'm like, did we ever really find out what that was? We saw her like go up to this little thing that said Wingo's, and she had a little box that we saw again in this episode. But I'm not sure we ever really confirmed what happened to her. And if we have, then obviously I just missed it. But now that we know exactly what it was, that she was a POW and she was tortured for information and she wouldn't give it up, and I guess she managed to escape but left people behind in the process. I think maybe either that or she gave up information that got some people killed. I'm not entirely sure. We still don't know exactly, what happened to get her out of there. She tells Drew Carey's character that they moved her around a lot, so she never really knew how much time had passed, and she didn't talk but screamed a little bit. So I'm not sure if she's saying she didn't talk until the very end and that's how she got out, or if maybe she was able to escape but there were other people trapped that she wasn't able to help escape. Whatever the case, clearly it's something that has been eating her up and something we haven't really seen from her so far. And that is one thing that I will say it does sort of take away from this episode a little bit, is whenever you watch this season as a whole, there's not really been some sort of hint that, oh, she's got a checkered past and maybe we've never seen her like have the emotional breakdown that she did in this episode. I feel like that would have been a little bit more meaningful in this particular episode if we had seen maybe a couple episodes where she did sort of blow up. She got very upset and very angry, kind of like what Drew Carey's character did when that one guy was talking all this crap, like freaking out and grabbing him and about to hit him. If we had seen her blow up like that before, it would have been kind of like, okay, this is interesting. She's an interesting character, but aside from that one episode where they went over with the Cinder and Vance brought it up to Gibbs about, are you sure you want her over there based on what happened last time? Aside from that, I don't know if we've ever really gotten much of a hint. If we have, it was too subtle because even I didn't catch it. So that is the one thing that does sort of draw away from this episode. But overall, I mean, it's a very good episode. It's very emotional. Drew Carey's character was also a POW, and so he's coming back. We find out about halfway through the episode that apparently when he came back, he had a girlfriend that he had impregnated before he left. And, I mean, that sucks on its own. And then on top of that, when he comes back, she married a new guy, and the daughter grew up not knowing that he was her father. And, of course, at first I was like, wait, so is that girl, is she the post office woman, and she's lied to them? But then we find out that apparently the mother died, and so did the father. And so the daughter, never really knew who her real father was. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, so post office woman, that's his daughter then. They'll probably have a final scene where he gets to go tell her. We didn't really get to hear it, and we didn't get to see much of a reaction. We saw her start crying. I don't know if we ever find out if that's a good or a bad cry, which I do think is kind of like, it would have been nice to see them like hug or something just to really complete it. But instead we just see her start crying, and then we go back to Sloan in the car, and she pulls out her little box again, and we see her have 3 Wingo's patches, and she gets upset, smashes it down into the box and closes it and then throws it away. So clearly she's still dealing with that, the pain of what happened to her, and she's not, I think seeing him find sort of a way to cope, she's looking at herself and she's like, I didn't really have anything to return to. Not necessarily he didn't have anything to return to, but he did lose a few things. But he had a daughter that he could at least talk to, and he could find out more about her and how her life is going. it is kind of nice to see that he did have something. We don't really know if Sloane had anything to come back to. Maybe she left and she was just complete loner, and then coming back, she didn't really have friends or family to talk to when she came back. So I assume we'll probably find out more about her in the future, I hope. It'd be nice to kind of get to see more about her and what this traumatic event put her through. But all in all, that side of the story, it was really well done. I will say it would have been nice if they could have found something maybe a little bit incriminating on that Dexter guy, the one that was doing the talk show, because he was just an asshole. And the problem is, whenever you put a character like that on there, you have to have some retribution for them, or else there's just a character that everybody's going to hate. And yeah, they say at the end, oh, he lost some followers, but it's still like, he has a show still. He still does have followers. Can't you have something bad happen to him so you can at least give me something to enjoy with that character? Because as it stands, I hated him from beginning to end, and nothing bad happened to him, so there's no satisfaction from me. I will say it was interesting. I was looking up actors in this one, because aside from Drew Carey, there were a couple other actors I'm like, they look kind of familiar. I wonder who they were. Didn't actually know who he was, but I found out he was Gary Busey's son. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, I will say that his character deserves some sort of retribution in the end. Whether they found something that he said in the past that was enough to lock him up or maybe cancel his show. Something along those lines, it would have been nice, but as it stands, he's just a character that is an asshole, and just, you want to hate him, and that's it. The case itself, I'm not going to say it was predictable, but it was pretty easy to figure out about halfway through, because they're questioning the guy who died. They're questioning his wife. And at one point, she's just like, what, you think I'm actually a suspect? Well, I think we're done here. I think you need to talk to my lawyer. Why? At that point, it's just kind of like, you really lawyered up very fast once you realized that they suspected you. So something tells me that you're not innocent in this. So something's going on. And sure enough, we come to find out that the guy's brother is the one that killed him because he and the guy's wife wanted to be together. And on top of that, apparently he was a fan of this Dexter guy, and so he's like, oh, I know, I can kill him so we can be together, but also I can make myself look good to this Dexter guy by planting, evidence that makes it look like this one guy that he hates is guilty. Kind of a convoluted plan, and not necessarily making a whole lot of sense. It would have made more sense if there was another reason aside from Dexter that would have gotten him involved. Like if there was money involved, that would have made more sense, but as it stands, it just kind of seemed like a weird reason. Like, hey, this one guy hates this other guy, and I like this guy that's an asshole. So, you know what? I want to frame this guy that he doesn't like for a murder, as well as managing to hook up with my brother's wife. So, yeah, that's a foolproof plan. Whatever the case, it was pretty easy to figure out once the wife lawyered up. It was just kind of like, you have no reason to, so clearly you're guilty of something. And then once the brother pops up, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's pretty much the one you least expect out of all the suspects. There was the drunk uncle that's like, yeah, he's a good suspect. Oh, this guy's a good suspect. Oh, this guy's the one that gave him the care package. So all of them are so suspicious. But it's the one that's least suspicious. Those are the people that killed him. Kind of the NCIS formula. So, aside from that, though, just kind of some fun stuff on the outside. Torres dealing with taxes stuff. I can personally relate. Taxes suck. It's one of those things. Oh, yeah, tax break season. You owe money. Oh, awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. There's not a whole lot else to talk about, so that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future NCIS reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.